Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are back. We are back to review A Love After Lockup. We in season 5. We on episode 35. I think they titled this episode True or False. But like I normally do, I retitle all these episodes. And this one, I had a hard time figuring out what I was going to retitle this one. I end up going with the thumbnail, You Tricked Me. You tricked me because I thought it was a little play on words, because depending on how you look at it, you would think that the people getting tricked are the people on the outside, and the inmates have tricked the people on the outside, you know, used them for their money and all this other kind of stuff. But like I've been saying earlier, and what our jailhouse therapist, True, pointed out so eloquently this time around, he feels tricked. You were tricked. You were tricked, True. Troy, you were tricked. A lot of people were tricked. And we're going to talk about this double tricking going on. I got so much to talk about, y'all. I don't even know where to begin. So I hope y'all got some time for me, because this might be an extra long video, because you know I missed last week. I missed reviewing last week because I was out of town. So I had to watch 2 episodes. And I might be going back a little bit in the previous episode because I feel it's relevant to this episode. But what I really want to say is we got a jailhouse therapist in True. We got a jailhouse lawyer helping Letitia. We got a mama going to church high with no panties on. I mean, you ever go away from your house and then you come home from your house after vacation and all hell done broke loose? That's how I feel with this show. I feel like I went away for 1 week and I get back and all hell done broke loose. But everybody on this show, I'm going to tell you, especially these ladies on the outside, specifically Zariah, Shantae, they really need to take some coursework on conflict resolution, because they don't know how to resolve conflict. And I'm going to tell you something. These prisoners coming out, specifically Troy and True, so far what I've seen, they actually know how to resolve conflict better than these ladies on the outside. It's a sight to be seen. Maybe because Troy and they was in prison with these prisoners, you got a lot of bad characters in prison, and maybe you got to learn a few skills to survive in prison, and you always can't resort to the skill of fighting, and you always can't resort to running the corner crying that you didn't get your way. I don't know what it is, but I never thought I would be here saying that in some situations I was agreeing with the prisoners. Did y'all feel that way when you was watching the show? Were there a few times when you were saying to yourself, you can't believe that you're agreeing with the prisoners? But so first, let's get into it. Let's stop talking about it on the surface and let's really, really get into it. So first of all, we have Zariah and Troy. And the first part I remember from the episode I missed, I'm going to catch up on that. Zariah's all happy because finally she got a little look at her man's a ding-a-ling, and she was happy because she figured out he got a big D. That's what she was worried about. All this time he was in prison, that's what she was worried about. The PK child was worried about the size of his D. And I guess he had been trying not to get her hopes up high, so he kept telling her it was small. It was small. But she was happy to see that it wasn't small, that it was big, and that she is satisfied. She said they had sex for 3 hours. She's so happy about it. She running around telling her sister all about how big it is. Okay, girl, too much information. But this is where Zariah started going wrong for me. Here this man is straight out of prison. He said he doesn't have a really good relationship with his mama. Zariah decides, no, I'm gonna force your relationship with your mother. And not only am I going to force it, I'm going to do it the first day out of prison. Girl, what you doing? What you doing? Why you doing all this? And she was definitely overstepping because she already knew what that mama was all about. She already said she had problems with the mama, but she decides to take it among herself and make this executive decision. Remember, Zariah was the one saying that when her man came home from prison, he was going to be the king of the house. Well, I guess not. I guess not, because Zariah is over here making a whole lot of decisions for her king and then telling her king, this is what you got to do. Zariah is falling to the same trap I said Shantae was, and that is these ladies like control. And I think one of the reasons why they both like dating prisoners was because in a lot of ways they felt like they had some sense of control, because when they're in prison, there's not much these men can do, right? There's not much more. They can't get too out of line. They cannot do what these women want them to do. And now that they're out of prison, it seems like they've dedicated their life to bossing these men around. It's a sight to be seen. But this woman, Zariah, then tells her king of the house, no, you gonna meet up with your mama, because I don't want a relationship with a man who doesn't have a good relationship with his mama. Well, girl, you married him. He didn't have a good relationship before you married him, and now you married him, and now on his first day out, you tell him, not only are you going to go meet your mama, pick up your mama, but then your mama's going to come stay here too. And he's saying, hey, baby girl, this is too much for me. I really don't want to do all this straight away. But Zariah says, too bad. I'm running the show. I'm the king of the house. I know I got you a crown for your head, Troy, but that was just all for show, because the truth of the matter is I'm making all the decisions here, and this is the decision that I'm making, and I really don't care if you're uncomfortable with it, because the truth of the matter is even Zariah is uncomfortable with it, so I'm not even for sure why she's doing this. It goes back to what I was saying before about other things about Zariah. We find out how Troy even got on the birth certificate of the young boy. It was because Zariah says the real father of the young boy has nothing to do with him, doesn't pay child support. So she left the birth certificate blank. And then what she said was she wants Troy to be the father of the young boy, and then he put his name on the birth certificate. A birth certificate is about who biologically contributed to this kid's DNA. I mean, you can have whatever type of father you want, but I don't agree with changing health records. The health record is the health record. The birth certificate is a certificate of birth. And she should have put who the real father was on there so that this boy has a record of who his real biological father is. Troy can absolutely be the father who's stepping up. But once again, that just tells me how I believe Zariah regularly oversteps her boundaries. She's making decisions for this young boy. She's making decisions for Troy that I'm not quite with. I'm not quite with it. And Troy keeps telling her, I have anxiety over seeing his mom. But you know what? He wants to make his wife happy because his wife has stuck by him all this time. And as he says, she's been mentally incarcerated along with him. I believe Zariah has had some mental issues prior to even marrying Troy. Part of the reason probably why she was even led to him. Let's be real about it. But, you know, Troy decides, hey, I'm going to go ahead and talk to my mama because, you know what, maybe we can talk through some family trauma that has been existing for a long time. Maybe we can build a relationship, even though it isn't anything that he would want to do. And he's mad that the mama never really came to visit him. And once he sees his mama, he says, Mama, why didn't you ever come see me? And basically that mama said, I was pretty much drunk all the time. She said, you know what? It was hard for me to get there. I couldn't get myself together. And Troy eloquently says, it's not about if you fall, it's about how you get up. I tell you, these prison inmates are coming out with more knowledge than the people on the outside. Maybe they need to role reversal. Maybe Zariah, that mama, maybe they need to go do some time. So maybe they can come out with a little bit more wisdom. And finally, Troy has a good conversation with his mama. He says he's seeing some improvement in her. I hope it's going to be okay. I hope it's going to be okay. So he brings mama home to the house. She rolls up on the house. She starts complaining to me, oh, I got to walk up some stairs. Girl, yes, hold on to the rail. Get you a cane. You got to walk up a few flights of stairs. But you know, Troy, he's still being a nice little son. He said, just a few, mama. You only got to walk up a few flights of stairs. So now we got Troy catering and accommodating both Zariah and his mama. But the minute the mama gets in the house, guess who's uneasy? Zariah, the one who set this all up. So now you uneasy, Zariah? You the one that mandated all this. You made the mama do it. You made Troy do it. And now you the one that's uneasy. Unbelievable. The mom comes in and gives Zariah compliments, says your place is nice and clean, because she's the inspector. And she says, you know what? You've passed my inspection. I like the way you keep this house. And then the mama starts bringing up the fact that Troy has a little daughter back in Buffalo that he hasn't seen in quite a long time. His daughter is 7 years old, and he hadn't seen his daughter all this time. And the mother starts bringing up the daughter and says, I really don't think, Troy, you need to be back in Buffalo, but you do have a daughter. And that mama starts talking about how she don't like Troy's baby mama, Yana. And guess who now is upset about the conversation? Zariah. Girl, now you upset about the conversation because they have to have a conversation about Troy's daughter, but yet you the one that brought the mama here. So now Zariah is upset because why you keep bringing up this woman? Who? The baby mama? The baby mama that's not going anywhere? The daughter that's not going anywhere? Zariah, what were you expecting? What were you expecting? A lot of me believes that Zariah really wants to control Troy too. She wants everything to work in her favor. Like I said before, she doesn't listen to anyone. People had even told her she should have married Troy. She didn't listen to that bishop. She didn't listen to that first lady. She didn't listen to her sister. She doesn't listen to anyone. She kept saying that when Troy came home, she was going to listen to him because he was going to be the king of the house. But here he is back home, and guess what Zariah's not doing? She's not listening to him either. Zariah is doing whatever the hell she wants to do. And then what she wants to do is she wants to claim victim. So you brought the mama here, invited into your house, not just for a dinner for an hour or 2 hours, but to come stay with you. And now that the mama is bringing up, actually what is an important discussion is about when are you going to go see your daughter? Now you got a problem. And now you got an attitude. So you decide that when Troy is trying to have a little bit of emotional intelligence and say, hey, let's talk about this. Even though it was Zariah who got all of them in this mess in the first place, even being here, Troy decides, hey, let's talk about this, Zariah. But what does Zariah do? She goes in her room and closes the door and says she don't want to talk about it. And her lip is poked out and she's mad. Why are you talking about her? This is ridiculous. This is so freaking ridiculous. Then she tells the man who she couldn't wait to come home for prison that he got to go sleep on the couch. This is petty. This is immature. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. If this marriage doesn't work, right now, I'm going to put it on the shoulders of Zariah. I wish I could assign all the problems to Troy, but at this moment in time, I haven't seen too much that Troy has done wrong, but I see a whole lot that Zariah is doing wrong. Now she's running around talking about how she needs some space. She wants to be alone. Girl, you've been talking day and night how you ready for this man to come home. Now he comes home. Now you putting him out because his mama brought up his daughter. This is ridiculous. It's because she's losing control. She's losing control over the conversation. She needs to be in control of everything at every time. She wants to dictate what people do, where they go, what they talk about, what words come out their mouth. Constantly, she needs to be in control. That's why she wanted to date a prisoner. Because when you date a prisoner, you can go ahead and guess what? You can treat him like a child. That's what she's thinking, because she really does try to treat Troy a lot like a child. Every time I listen to her, she's telling him what to do. Go to bed, come in here, get up, get dressed, go to church, do this. It's a hot, hot mess, y'all. A hot, hot mess. But when he gets back on that couch, that mama told Troy, I know if she don't want to give you some booty, talking about Zariah, Yana already said she's willing to give you all the booty you need. That mama was foul for saying it. That mama was foul, but that mama don't like what she's seeing. And we already know that mama don't have no sense in her head. She say what she want to say. She over here talking about going to church with no panties on. She talking about spraying her coochie with some coochie spray. And she over here taking gummies to go to church. The woman is going to church high, y'all. And guess who's mad? Guess who's mad that the mama's going to church with no panties on, spraying her coochie with some coochie spray, and taking gummies to go to church? Guess who's mad? Zariah, the one that invited her here. The one that invited her here. Now she got a bad attitude. She's bossing everybody around, says, get in the car, let's go, let's get there now. Later on, she gonna go to church with that mama and Troy, and she gonna be mad about the way the mama's acting up in church. You mean the church you going to, the one that Troy told you from the very beginning he didn't want to go to, the one you even told your own parents you didn't want to be showing up in no church every single Sunday. So now you have ordered everyone to church. You've ordered Troy to church, his mama to church, and then you're gonna be mad about the way everybody acting. Once again, wanting to be in charge, but not wanting to deal with the consequences of being in charge. I'm really tired of Zariah. I really am. And Zariah says afterwards, you know what? I guess I was petty making you sleep on the couch. You think so, Zariah? You think so? Well, it's a little too late because you did it. It's nice to apologize afterwards, but would have been nicer would be for you to catch yourself before you went to that petty, before you got on that petty train. But you got on and you rode it all the way down. She says, but I want to apologize for making you sleep on the couch. And, but I don't know why your mama kept bringing things up like that. Well, first of all, you invited her. Troy tried to tell you it was too soon to invite that mama into your house, but you didn't want to listen to your king, as you say. You wanted to do what you want to do. And now that you did what you want to do, and that mama's coming around and doing stuff you don't want her to say and do, now you blaming Troy for it and everybody else when it was you who made the decision, Zariah. You want to be in charge. You want to be in charge and you want to make decisions. But when things don't go right, you want to talk about everybody else. Well, now you got this mama here. She's at church. She's acting up in church with her 2 gummies, her no panties on, and she laughing at your daddy while he's up there preaching, telling you your preacher daddy is a comedian and he kind of ghetto. He's a preacher and he's kind of ghetto. Zariah is fit to be tied. I'm telling you, she loved to boss people around. Even when they were going to church, she was telling Troy, get in the car, do this, and get your ankle bracelet. This girl loved to give some directions to everyone. And when she's not in control and she can't control what's coming out of everybody's mouth, she starts to get anxiety. She might need to go get her some Xanax, something to put her on some anxiety medication, because I'm not quite sure someone with their own anxiety like her is going to be a good fit to help a prisoner reacclimate to society. I think this is how prisoners go back to prison, because they start to realize that real life, dealing with the crazies on the outside, the crazy people like Zariah, maybe it's easier dealing with the criminals on the inside of prison. Life is a whole lot easier dealing with the criminals in the inside than it is going to be dealing with crazy-minded Zariah and this crazy mama I got. Now we know why Zariah wants to date a prisoner. And a couple of other women want to date prisoners because they feel like they can control the prisoner. And that's what they was looking for. That's what they was looking for. Zariah might need to go on over there and have a free counseling session with a jailhouse therapist that I'm going to call True. Because I'm going to tell you something about True. True has this childlike nature to him. I know he's 30, but he also has this childlike nature that I see sometimes at 17. But I'm going to tell you something about True, and I said it in my last video. True actually has very high emotional intelligence. He really does, because let me tell you what he's done. He has read Shantae like a book. He has read her like a book. And when he said he feels tricked, he feels used by Shantae. And Shantae is like, what? And Shantae is like, what? How can you say that I use you? You use me because I done spent $50,000 on you. No, you used them too. You used them too, Shantae. That's what I've been saying. And True is being true to who he is. And this, what this episode called, True or False, I'm going to say it's true. I'm going to say it's true. True comes home and he lets Shantae know, listen, Shantae, we should not be bickering and arguing all this much. This is too much. I just got out of prison. Who knew that I was going to have more fights at home than I was going to have in the prison yard? We fight more here at home than we was fighting in the prison yard. And Shantae, she keeps calling True an idiot. Well, Shantae, actually, I'm going to tell you something. I believe that True is actually a whole lot smarter than you. You call yourself to be so bright and you make such good decisions, but I question those decisions, Shantae. And so far, I have not seen you make any more intelligent decisions than True. Yeah, True's made some bad decisions because that's why he did 13 years in prison. But some of these decisions by you, Shantae, girl, you in a prison too. You in your own mental prison because right now, Shantae, you stressed out over this money that you've been paying for this Airbnb, a 2-bedroom Airbnb. Why did y'all need a 2-bedroom Airbnb? Y'all could have taken yourself to the Motel 6. You could have got yourself a 1-bedroom apartment. Why you need a 2-story, 2-bedroom apartment and you broke with no job? And now you stressing over it. And now what you saying is he's not grateful for all what you're doing. Didn't nobody ask you to do all this? I never have even seen True ask you to rent a 2-bedroom Airbnb. No, Shantae, you do a lot of this stuff on yourself. And what therapist True is seeing is you do a whole lot of stuff because I think he's right. You do it to impress him. You do it to rope him in. You do it for yourself because you want something out of it. This is what I say on all my videos. If any of you guys follow me on any of my shows, what I constantly say is don't let no one come up to you and keep calling themselves givers. And then they're giving to you so they can get something, because that's what Shantae has done. Sure, she's given True a whole lot, too much. $50,000 worth of stuff when he was in prison, but it's at a heavy price because True was a prisoner in that prison, right? He was probably working, doing prison labor in that prison, right? Because we know about prison labor. But now that he's out, guess who the new warden is? Shantae. And Shantae is here to let True know is you bought and paid for. I done paid $50,000 for you. That's what Shantae is really trying to tell True. I done paid $50,000 for you and you owe me. And now that you out, you gonna need to do everything I tell you to do. When I say do it, how I say do it. And if you don't do it, you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy. True wasn't expecting to come out and be with another prison warden and be in prison as Shantae, but that's what Shantae wanted. And like I said, Shantae really needs to go on and get her a lifer in prison because that's the relationship she really wants. She wants a relationship that she too can control. And you know what better one to control? One that's in where your man is in prison. That's the best one to control. So now she over here stressing out over this Airbnb money. Shantae with her horrible communication style. She thinks she got such good communication style and True got the worst one. No, True actually has good communication. He actually says exactly what he thinks. The problem is Shantae don't like what he says. See, that's two different things. It's one thing that a person doesn't communicate. It's another thing when I communicate with you, I tell you my true self, I tell you my true feelings, I tell you my true intentions, but then you don't like what I say. That's not called bad communication. That means you just don't like my communication. You don't like what I'm saying. That's Shantae. But Shantae, on the other hand, don't open up her mouth. She don't do nothing. She don't talk. She don't really understand even her own thinking. Shantae, call that $50,000 you spent on True, call it for therapy because True is right. True is right. He's been providing a whole lot of support to Shantae in these years. She might have been giving him a whole lot of money, but True is right when he tells her at the end of this episode that you've been using me for love too. You've been using me to prop you up. You've been using me to make you feel better, but you want to act like I owe you everything and you don't owe me nothing? Girl. But you know what? I don't know what Shantae thought. She thought that this man would take the $50,000. She would be in control of him. And when he got out, they would be engaged. He did promise her that. But once he got out and he started seeing what he was working with, because, you know, she never did go visit him. And we always knew why she didn't go see, because he figured that out too. He figured out she never wanted to come because she was afraid that if she came, he would see her in person. He would get these vibes from her in person and he wouldn't like what he was seeing. And then he would dump her even in prison and get him another woman. She was right, because more than likely that's probably what would have happened. But now that they didn't get to see each other and he gets out and he says, this ain't living up to what I thought it was. I think we need to slow it down a bit. I don't think we need to jump in a marriage so soon. Maybe we need to dial this back to just dating. And now we got Miss Shantae feeling used. I get why she's feeling used, but I want her to get how she got here. That's what I want her to do. I get why she's feeling used, because in her mind, I'm going to pay all this $50,000. I'm going to support you. When you get out, I'm going to own you. And when I say own you, not only are you going to be my husband, but you're going to do everything I want you to do, how I do it, how I say you do it, when I tell you to do it. And I'm going to get to call you an idiot to your face, and you're going to still keep going along with it. Shantae really underestimated True. And now she's sitting up here asking him, so what you want to do? You want to date exclusively? Why are you asking the question, Shantae? You so-called want to run the show. Why don't you tell him exactly what you want to do? Why are you asking the questions? Why don't you tell your expectations? Put it out on the table. Why are you formulating everything in the form of a question to give it an option? If you so sure about what you want and you up here running the show, tell him what you want. What's your criteria? What are your demands? But instead, you ask him a question, and then when he tells you what he wants and he tells you, I want to just go with the flow, you tell him, stop saying that. Well, why don't you speak up, Shantae? Like I tell you, one thing about Shantae is she don't really want to speak out loud, but when she asks True and he tells her true feelings, she calls him an idiot and tells him to shut up. Girl. True's honest. He's saying he really not in the frame of mind to be exclusive. He said, I just got out of prison after doing 13 years. I need to reacclimate to this society. He said, I done come out here on these streets and it's a whole new world. I got to get used to this whole new world. He's saying, but I will parole with you. He said, I'll live up in your house and be paroled with you. And I'll sleep with you. That's what I can offer you, Shantae. And Shantae feels used. She said, this isn't the agreement. This isn't what I paid for. This isn't what I paid $50,000 for. I didn't pay this much money for no man to live up underneath me and we not be engaged and you not to do what I say I want you to do. True looks in the camera. He tells everybody, all you women, let me give you a message. If you gonna date a prisoner, then take some time to come and meet that prisoner, learn that prisoner, so you know exactly what you're getting with that prisoner. True, the jailhouse therapist, is giving some dating advice for the prisoners. True, this could be your line of work. This could be where you make your money, because let me tell you something, you are speaking some truth and a lot of people need to hear what you got to say. Now you got Shantae over here crying, talking about she wasted all these years in her life. Everybody told her she should have listened. Yeah, you should have listened. You made some bad decisions, Shantae. Your decisions were probably just as bad as True. The problem is you just weren't in prison because of your decisions, but you're in a mental prison now. You might as well call yourself in prison because you've created a life here that you feel imprisoned. You got an inmate that you done taken care of, that you spent a whole lot of money on. You still spending money. You broke. You done lost your job. You in a financial prison. You in a mental prison. You in an emotional prison. But who got you there? You did. You did. But I tell you who ain't helping the situation, that damn sister of True. She's messy as hell. She's messy as hell. It kind of makes you see how people became the road they went down when you start to see their family. Because let me tell you, that sister is foul. It's foul. Talking about let's go work out. Girl, you ain't seen a gym in 10 years. You probably ain't been in a gym since True been in prison. Because when I look at you, I say to myself, what gym and where? And the idea that you and this other girl, Tisha, who says she calls herself Shantae, are workout buddies, I don't believe it. Working out where? Working out where? And come to find out, when we finally do see this Tisha girl, the only thing she really want to work out is her pee thing, her vajayjay. She ain't trying to work out no arms, no legs, nothing. She trying to work her pee thing with True. She laying it on thick. She promising him everything in the world. She ready to spread it wide and spread it low and give him exactly what he wants. And that sister, Shantae is right not to trust that sister because she ain't trustworthy. And I really don't even know why that sister don't like Shantae, because Shantae ain't the enemy. Shantae is not the enemy. So I really don't know why this sister is so bent, hell bent on doing Shantae wrong. I don't get it. No wonder True was out here making bad decisions for his life, because it sounds like he don't have no one around him giving him no good advice, because his sister of his is giving bad advice. She's foul. She's a bad character, her own self. And once again, True is dishing out some truth to this girl, Tisha, saying, listen, you didn't come around when I was in prison. So if you will leave me then, you'll leave me again. Speak on it, True. Speak on it. He says, you leave once, you'll leave again. He says, I already can read you, girl. I know what you're here to do. True's trying to be honest and let her know, hey, I got a girl who rolled with me through thick and thin through all those years, and I'm in love with her. I love her, and I'm going to be true to her. I'm not here to mess around with no other chicks. And this girl is laying on thick, promising him the world, telling him he ain't really got to do much. She's ready to lay it low and lay it down. And there goes that other sister sitting over in the corner. Girl, what are you, a pimp? Are you a pimp of this girl, Tisha? Are you getting a cut? What you doing? How you going to set something up like this? This is some foul behavior, not only by this girl, Tisha, but that sister of True's. But like True said, Tisha don't care that he's in a relationship. She trying to shoot her shot. She trying to do everything that she can to get True to be untrue to Shantae. But you know what True said? He said, I ain't had sex for 13 years in prison. I got discipline. I got discipline. Like I said about True, he really does have a higher level of emotional intelligence than even some of these people out on the street. True is telling himself he got really good discipline of his mind. The problem is, like he says, he doesn't want to listen to anybody, because actually True has a very strong mind, and sometimes that can work against him. It's good because he can read people really well, but sometimes if his mind is not telling him the right thing, he can make the wrong decisions, and therefore he's not easily influenced by people to do the right thing or do the wrong thing. So it's good he's not easily being tricked by these women. He's seeing right through this Tisha girl. He's actually starting to see right through Shantae. But sometimes when someone is trying to give True good advice, the problem is those people can't get through him. And that's what Shantae is upset about. Shantae is saying that even in her own mess, when she's trying to control True, she still is trying to give him good advice, and he don't listen to her either. So yeah, True don't listen to nobody. He don't listen to them when they're giving him good advice. He don't listen to them even when they're trying to sway him in the wrong direction. So he does need to learn the difference between good advice and bad advice. But right now, he's reading this girl, Tisha, like a dollar bill. And he's also read Shantae very, very well. But Shantae was hotter than fish grease when he got home. When he got home from that gym, Shantae says, I'm done with this mess. I'm packing my bags. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go back, see my kids, see my grandkids, because I'm not dealing with this no more. He gets home. True was like, where you going? Where you going? Why are you packing your bags? And Shantae says, I can't be here no more. I'm packing my bags. I'm not going to deal with this. Maybe it's best. Maybe it's absolutely best, Shantae, because I think Shantae needs to regroup. I think she needs to regroup because I think what she expected ain't going to happen. And she's needed to figure out, is this what she wants to keep on doing? Because True has been clear on where he's going. True has been clear that I love you. I want to be with you. But I need to acclimate to this life. And that might mean dipping and diving over here to a few other women. That's what it might mean, Shantae. So do you want to be with a man who's told you straight out, outright, that, hey, there might be a few women here and there because I'm getting my footing back, but I really do love you and I want to be with you. Do you want that life, Shantae? Do you really want that life? Or maybe you need to leave True alone. But once True gets back from the gym or working out, Shantae asked one more time, like as if the first time wasn't good enough and she didn't hear it. And True got to tell her one more time, you boring and you don't want to do fun stuff. She was looking out that window, waiting for True to come home like a little lost puppy dog in the house all day. Girl, Shantae, why didn't you go out? Do something for yourself. Go get your nails done, your toes done. Go treat yourself to lunch. Go to a movie. Don't be home when he got home. Do something with yourself. But True brought her $1,000. Said, here, I was saving this money up to get me a car, but I don't want you to feel used by me. So here's $1,000 on that $50,000 you done spent. Then Shantae started talking about $1,000. I don't want this money. Girl, you better take that money. You broke. You ain't got no job. Okay, you done spent all your savings. You better take that money and stop acting like you don't need it. You need it. You better grab it and take it. He says it was supposed to be for a car, but I'm going to give it to you instead because I don't want you to feel used by me. Shantae packs her stuff. She gets in that car and True says to her, you used me. You tricked me. And the jailhouse therapist starts laying it on thick to Shantae. And Shantae can't believe her eyes. Can't believe her ears nor her eyes. But you know what, Shantae? I hate to tell you, he was right. He was absolutely right. He says, you tricked me. You tricked me. And you did all this stuff to make me feel obligated to you. That's right. That's what she did, True. She wanted you to feel obligated. She wanted to be in control. She wanted to feel the power because she wanted you to be bought and paid for. And he says, why didn't you visit me? Did you not visit me because you didn't want me to find out that maybe we're not compatible, that maybe I wouldn't like once I met you in person? Was that what you was afraid of? So you tricked me. You presented one person to me so that I would believe one thing. But now here I am on the outside and you nothing like what we was talking about and what you was doing all this time. And Shantae don't want to take no accountability. She wants to be the victim. She says, I done bought a whole house for this man. Really? Did he tell you to do that? Did he really tell you to do all this, Shantae, or is this stuff that you did on your own? And now you want to blame him because your whole plan didn't go the way you thought it would go. And she's saying she ain't got no job. She looks stupid. You do look stupid. You look crazy. But didn't nobody ask you to do all this to this degree? No one really did. And she's talking about she should have put herself first. She didn't put herself first. Now she feels stupid. Well, actually, Shantae, you kind of did put yourself first because I'm going to keep pushing back on the fact that you did this all for True. You didn't do this all for True. You did this for yourself, too. You did a lot for him. You really did. And he needs to be thankful and he needs to be grateful. But a lot of this stuff, Shantae, you did for yourself. Be careful of the Shantaes out in the world because there are a lot of them. There are a lot of people like Shantae who do stuff for you, but then say they do it to gain control over you. It's a lot of people like Shantae. They're all walking around out here. They not just dating people in jail. They dating regular people too. True said, you used me. She said, how could I use you? He said, you used me to build you up all this time. You did, Shantae. You felt good. You felt good saying you had this good looking man in prison, built muscles. He loved you. You engaged. You loved to run around and tell that story to everybody. That was your story you loved to tell. You used him, Shantae. Let's be real about it. You did. That doesn't mean that you didn't do some things for him too as well, but you need to see both sides. And until you see both sides, Shantae, until you stop seeing yourself purely as the victim, all you're going to do is just keep doing this over and over. And you can keep telling yourself that you're the good person and he's the bad person. If you're not going to believe this jailhouse therapist and True, then you need to go get your own therapist. Your own therapist. But you know what? That sister of True, she ain't going to be no help. Soon as Shantae leaves, True called his sister and tell his sister, I broke up with Shantae. And that sister said, F Shantae. Ugh. I wouldn't be surprised if that sister had something to do with True going to prison. That sister is so foul. I really don't like her. She's probably one of the least liked person on this whole episode for me. The least liked person. Poor Shantae, she can't even make it down the road before she got to pull the car over and have a nervous breakdown, crying. I hate to see Shantae. I hate to see her here. I do. I hate to see her here because I know she really hurt. I know she's really hurt. But, you know, beyond the tears, behind the hurt, I need her to learn from this. Because it sounds like Shantae kind of repeats some of the same old mistakes. And she can't keep calling herself the victim because otherwise she ain't going to learn her lesson. She got to really listen to what True said, because as hard as it was to hear, as many things wrong as True is doing, she doing some stuff wrong too. And I need her to see that. I really do need her to see that. And talk about somebody else trying to control someone. Let's talk about this Kim trying to control Joey. These women love to control these prisoners when they get out of prison. She done put air tags on everything. This girl done bought this man a whole car for Christmas. And she only make $15 an hour. She done let this man go into a toy store and run up $300 on her credit card so he can come home and act like he the king of the castle with gifts for the boys. Girl. All she worried about is having sex with him. $15 an hour and you bought this man a whole car. How you afford that? Must be that daddy of hers. Like I said, more than likely Kim is getting subsidized by that daddy. Okay. And now she's spending that money on that man, because how can Kim afford a car when she got 2 kids with another man? That, I don't know, is that man paying child support and she make $15 an hour? I told you that's what she was with Joey for, because she want a babysitter for those kids. She trying to save on daycare costs. But let me tell you something. Joey didn't even want to be with them kids on Christmas Day for more than 2 hours. How the hell he going to stay home with them kids and keep them kids while you go to work making $15 an hour? Kim, another person that's about to get disappointed. Joey already triggered because 1 hour after he got that car, he was rolling down the street vaping and reminiscing about how he used to sell crack, where he went to go have crack, how he did crack. He looked like he was ready to go get high again with, what's he talking about, opioids and meth. I could already see him fiending. He was fiending already. It ain't going to be long before Joey get another fix. It's not going to be long. I could tell already. What difference does it make if you got a tracker on him? All you're going to do is track him to the place where he can go get some opioids and get some meth. This Kim girl, another person, dating a prisoner for control. Dating a prisoner for some control. Joey is not ready to be no father, be up in no house with no badass kids. Them kids are bad. They was over there hitting their mother in the face and she didn't do nothing. Nothing. I already know them kids are bad. Bad. Instead of running after this prisoner, she should have been at home giving them kids some discipline. It won't be long before Joey got a new girlfriend, and that new girlfriend gonna be them drugs and that alcohol, because the way he was rolling down that street, smoking that vape pen, I could already tell he about to fall back in love with some drugs, and Kim gonna be on the out. She gonna be the other woman. She about to be the other woman. And talk about a crazy relationship. We got to see this relationship with this Bianca 23 and Daniel 31. This is a hot mess. This girl. This is the most weirdest story. You want to tell me that this girl almost had a near fatal car accident because she was in the car with a drunk driver. So much so that she spent 3-4 months without a voice, had to have surgery on her throat, her neck. And then the way that she decides to heal is she decides to write a prisoner who's in jail with a DUI. So the very thing that almost killed you, being in the car with a DUI, you decide to reach out to a prison system specifically to contact a man who's in jail with a DUI. And then you get all this settlement money, lawsuit money, from being darn near killed in a car accident. And you decide you go spend it all on the DUI guy. Girl, she really naive. That friend of hers, he's a good friend. He really trying to tell her how stupid she looks, how silly she sounds, but she ain't listening. She is not listening. And she done told this prison man how much money she got. And he said, that's fine. I'm willing to run it all up. Run it all up. Keep sending me some money in prison. And once I get out of prison, I can spend all this money you got. She a damn fool. She should have listened to them parents. You know, she was all offended when that daddy said, are you crazy or are you a mental case? But what that daddy was really trying to tell her was, what kind of woman would be with my son? Because my son ain't worthy to be with no one. So in order to want to be with him, you got to be crazy. But instead she was offended. No, it was a warning. He was trying to warn you. He was trying to say, if you got any smarts, any sense at all, you wouldn't be with my son. So you got to be crazy. That's what he was trying to tell her. But she all offended by it, talking about, now I know how Daniel is the way he is because of his daddy. Well, you better listen to the daddy, because the daddy was trying to warn you in his own way. And so was that mama. That mama was trying to warn you that if you smoke or drink around him, he's going to relapse. And here you got Bianca running around talking about, well, I ain't going to stop drinking. Girl, you was just almost killed hanging out with a drunk person who killed you in a car. And now you saying you not worried about drinking in front of Daniel. So what, he can drink and drive too, and you could be in the car and almost lose your life again? Ugh. I don't even know if I want to see her storyline, because right now her storyline is already jacked up. And you know who else life is falling apart? Letitia's over here running behind Keith, talking about she gave a jailhouse lawyer $1,000 to get the prisoner out. Girl, and she mad because she ain't got the results that she wanted. You only gave him $1,000, Letitia. You done spent thousands on this man in prison, but you mad about $1,000 you gave a jailhouse lawyer, a paralegal, to file some paperwork with you. Girl, that ain't nothing. $1,000, that ain't nothing, but you expecting all this stuff to happen? Ugh. These women spend all this money on these prisoners and then blame other people. It ain't that jailhouse lawyer's fault, the situation your husband is in. It ain't his fault that now you losing your whole business out here, going bankrupt because you didn't spend all this money on the jailhouse lawyer, sending him money in prison for all kind of crazy stuff. But now you upset because you spent a measly $1,000 for some legal paperwork. Girl, get out of here. That prison jailhouse lawyer being should have checked her and told her, girl, don't be busting in my office up here talking like this when all you done spend is $1,000. And you talking about the bad decision you made was, contacting me. No, the bad decision you made was marrying the prisoner in the first place. The second bad decision you did was spending all your money on them in prison and losing your business. Because now it looks like don't nobody want to turn over their books to no woman date no prisoner. That's what I told her the last time. And she wondered why her customers are probably fleeing. I hope she wasn't embezzling no money from these customers she had. Talking about she a tax accountant. No way in hell I would give my social security number and my tax information to no woman dating no jailhouse prisoner. Absolutely not. She said, I'm here talking about her life is in shambles. Everything is falling apart. But the person's whose fault it is the prisoner's fault and the paralegal, the jailhouse attorney. Girl, this is your fault. You made these decisions. I can't stand when people make decisions and then blame everybody else for their decision making. Like I said, the people on the outside are making just as bad decisions as the people that got put in prison. And there needs to be a prison for bad decisions, because if there was a prison for bad decisions, all these people on the outside, they would be in prison too. They would absolutely be in prison doing at least 15 years. 15. And another person blaming everybody else for their bad decision, Christine. It's all the mama's fault. It's all the ex-husband's fault because her kids got taken away from her. Girl, you was the one on drugs. Ugh. She said the way she got on drugs is she was overprescribed medication. That's a thing. That is a thing. But you know what? We've all gotten prescription drugs before, whether we went to the dentist and they had to give us, these codeine and everything. There also is a personal responsibility. Okay. And at some point in time, people need to start taking personal responsibility. So that, maybe a doctor gave you 30 pills and you really only need to do 15. Then why couldn't you put the other 15 in the cabinet like everybody else does? Why you got to take them all at once? And now that you got hooked on drugs, it's everybody else's fault. I can't stand people with zero accountability. Zero. And now here she is out of prison and still not taking no accountability. None. Instead of being grateful that mama has taken care of her son, and maybe even that husband has taken care of those twins, she over here blaming everybody for her woes. Ugh. Now she mad at Julian for not telling her parents or his family that she was in prison. He said, you know what? I don't want them to prejudge you. I want them to get to know you first as you are, this new reformed Christine. And then after that, then I'll tell them about this part, but I want them to get to know you as a reformed person and not have prejudgment. You know what, Julian, I like that idea. That's giving your woman a head start. But what does Christine do? I don't like it. That means you ashamed of me. Girl, like I said, a lot of reason why these people are in prison is because they're poor decision makers before they went in prison. And now you can see coming out, they don't have good thinking. They don't have good logic, period. That's how they got in jail in the first place, because they don't have good thinking and they don't have good logic. She said she went to her mama when she was a drug addict and told her mama, hey, I can't take care of my child. Can I leave them here with you? That mama then gets legal custody of that child so that she can't just keep coming back and taking him. She can register him in school. She can be the legal guardian. And Christine says that mama's the problem. Girl, I would have done the same thing, mama. I would have done the same thing. Now she running over here, running off with Julian to a whole nother state. But a set of her kids are in Ohio. The other set of kids are here. But she's making the decision to go with Julian. Well, if you really cared about your kids, then why are you leaving? If you really cared about seeing your children, ain't nobody making you go to Maryland. Why are you going to Maryland? If your kids are your priority, getting to know your kids are your priority, making up for the time you lost with your kids are your priority, why are you going to Maryland? Because once again, Christine, you're really making decisions for yourself. And then what you want to do is you want to blame everybody else for your decisions. So here you are again about to make another decision for yourself. To go to Maryland, to be with this man so he can take care of you. But yet you say your kids are most important. Then keep your butt where your kids are. But no, you don't want to do that. You want to do what you want to do, make the decisions you want to make, but then you want to blame your mama for it. Girl, get out of here. I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. And talk about another mama I don't really like. I'm going to tell you, I don't like Arthur's mama. I don't like her at all. Because let me tell you, we get to hear a little bit more of the backstory with Arthur's mama. And we find out that, of course, the mama never really came to visit him once or twice a year, as Arthur says. And the mom tells the story that she was a single mom raising her kids, and that she worked as a CNA, and that she had to work a lot of hours. She had to work a lot of hours to take care of these kids. And oftentimes she wasn't around due to her hours. And Arthur said there was days when he didn't see his mama for 2 years, so he was raised in the streets. And sometimes you have a choice between a couple of bad decisions, mama. And you did have to provide for your children because you were there. Whatever way you got there, by having children, no one there to help you, you ended up there. And then you made the decision to choose a career in which you had to work these type of hours. You made the decision to choose a career in which you were never there for your children. I'm not going to pass no judgment on that. But what you can't do, mama, is after you've made your decision on how you were going to raise your children and what type of career you were going to have and how you worked, then blame everyone else. You can't do that, mama. You can't do that. Those were your decisions. And you're right, mother. You might have had to choose between two bad decisions. Maybe you didn't have a choice. That's fine. Like I said, I'm not going to judge. But you also got to know what comes with the consequences of those decisions. And now that your son went astray because he was raised by the streets and you didn't come visit him while he was in prison, now that he's out, what you've decided to do is you want to make up for all that lost time. And as you say, you want your son, your 30-something-year-old son, to come home with you to Las Vegas and lay his head on your lap so you can rub his head. Girl, those years are gone. Mama, those years are gone. That would be odd for your 32-year-old son to come home and lay his head in your lap and you to stroke his head like he's a 7-year-old child. No, those years are gone, mama. That's a consequence of your decision. You lost those years. You can't get them back. And now what you're doing is, now that this man is out of prison, you want those years back. Those years are gone. And the way you want those years back is you want him to go back to when he's 10 years old to come home, because really what you're trying to do, mama, is you're trying to make up for time you lost. You're trying to make up for the decisions you made. Those years are gone. They're gone. They're gone. Let Arthur go on and try to build a better life instead of trying to bring him back to when he was 7 so you can make up for things. See, this is another one of those situations where you got a person telling a person, I'm trying to do this for you. But no, really what the mama is she's trying to do it for herself. She feels guilty. She feels she lost out, which she did. She lost out on a lot. She lost out on a lot of years with her son. But now, to soothe her loss, to soothe her pain, to soothe what she wants to make up for, she wants to interrupt his life now and tell him to come home with her. She's not really doing it for him. She's doing it for herself. And this is where everybody's got to be smart enough out here in the world to really look at people and say, are you doing it for me or are you doing it for yourself? Because Arthur has kept telling her, I actually want to build a life with hope. That's who I want to build a life with. But the mama wants to create chaos in Arthur's life. She wants to create guilt in Arthur's life and make him feel like he's torn between two women. He shouldn't have to be torn between two women. He shouldn't have to be. He should respect his mother. He should love his mother. But that mother also has to learn that maybe some parts of her life that she wished she had done things differently is gone. We can't always make up for lost time. We can't. Just like Arthur has lost all these years when he was in prison, he's got to suffer through that too. He's lost a lot of years with his mother. He's lost a lot of years with his siblings. He'll never get them back. But would it be right for him to go back and hold all those people back from their lives because he's decided he wants everybody to come back because he's lost years with them? No. People's lives go on. They move on. And just because you made mistakes don't mean everybody else got to stop their lives to make you feel better. Arthur said he was rebellious when he was a kid. Probably so. He probably didn't have no discipline. He probably grew up on his own. And he says he regrets that day that his mama said, go home and do your laundry. And he said no. And he was out there in those streets trying to help somebody else. And he got caught up. And next thing you know, here he is doing over 10 years in prison, in and out of prison, trying to help somebody else. And now here he is once again, trying to help somebody, his mama, trying to help his mama work through her own sense of guilt for over the last 10, 15 years. His mama said, I want you to be home with me, lay in my lap so I can rub your head, a 32-year-old man. Woo! Arthur stay out talking to mama till it's midnight. He finally get home. Hope is fit to be tied. She is fit to be tied. She says, oh no, you're not going to be walking up in my house at 12 o'clock. Once again, here we go. Here we go, talking about my house. These women talk about when these men come home, they're going to be the king of the castle. No, they not. No, they not. You got a curfew. I don't care if you was with your mama or not. Hope said, I cooked all this food for you. You didn't even come home. Hope you didn't know where he was all this time. You mad? Should I tell you, these women, when they don't get their way, when these men don't do exactly what they say, they go in their rooms, they close their door, they slam their door, and they put them men on the couch and on that air mattress that she had in that living room. These men all this time thought these women were sending them money because they loved them. No, these women was buying you and paying for you prisoners so that when you came out on the outside, you would be their slaves. You would be their slaves. So like my thumbnail says, you was tricked. Everybody was tricked on these episodes. The prisoners was tricked. The people on the outside was tricked. It's a whole lot of tricking going on. But anyway, that's it, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Bye.